Hello again, Dean Forder from the distillery. Welcome to Who's Your Avatar Jester Edition Part 3, The Provocateur. Just a quick refresher for everyone. As you can see, out of the original 12 archetypes, we have dimensionalized out of those to include 3 what we call avatars, which are sub-archetypes within the larger archetype. So there's 3 of them for each. That makes 36 unique identities in total. So as we said, we're focusing again today, the last time, on the Jester. And there are 3 avatars within the Jester: the Entertainer, the Instigator, and we've covered both of those before, but today we are concentrating on the Provocateur. So let's look at that for a minute. Certainly the quote here is from Simon Wiesenthal, and Nazi hunters aren't exactly known for their sense of humor, but this quote was just too good. It speaks to the depth, really, of this particular avatar when he says humor is the weapon of unarmed people. It helps people who are oppressed to smile at the situation that pains them. So I'm going to show you a little example of more of a, not a brand version, but a human version of the Provocateur.
That is infuriating. After all, if I wanted exorbitant fees that keep getting raised all the time despite shitty service, I'd become a customer of AT&T. Yeah, fuck you, AT&T. Even if you take over, you'll never be my real
dad. You're supposed to say dad. Yeah, I cut that off too soon. So yes, apologies. Should have mentioned that there will be swearing in this clip. That's just how the Provocateur rolls, and there's more to come. So just on John Oliver, I'm a fan because he is a truly unique comedian. I call him sort of an activist entertainer because he marries real world activism with his political commentary. And I show this clip because AT&T is the parent company of HBO, who has a show. And so usually it's not considered best practice to keep attacking your parent company who actually signs your paychecks. But that's what John Oliver does. He does it pretty much every show. And then again, that's just how the Provocateur rolls. So I'm going to go over what we call the behavior code for the Provocateur. So really, you think about this: wherever there's a pot, the Provocateur is going to stir it. But they have a larger purpose. They're not just a shit disturber. Their higher purpose is actually truth itself, which they seek to communicate through humor. And they have this ruthless insight into the human condition and the ills of society. The Provocateur fundamentally is a prankster whose humor is often aimed at authority. When we say authority, that can mean a larger political, socio-political landscape, but oftentimes when it comes to brands, it's really focused at the largest category player. In fact, but this role of showing the light to authority really has been one of the roles that the classic Jester has performed throughout time. They were really the only ones, oftentimes, who were permitted to speak truth to power. So inside the Provocateur really are elements, as we've talked about with the other avatars, and archetypes, specifically the thinker, because of the emphasis on knowledge and truth. But there's also certainly some outlaw in there, in particular the revolutionary. So this is why the Provocateur really sort of masks a substantial message under a good-natured wink and a smile. And this is what also makes them great allies to the revolution, although we have to keep in mind that still they're ultimately in the entertainment business. So when we deconstruct the behavior code here, what we start with is the purpose. As we said, it's really to enlighten, at least from their own vantage point, and challenge authority through humor. So their traits are they are witty, insightful, provocative. Satire is a great weapon that they use. They're irreverent. And what we talk about is you have to hire these avatars to do a job. And certainly, like we say, you want to hire them to help us laugh at authority, society, but also ourselves in a playful, non-threatening kind of manner. They also can be hired, of course, to mock the arrogance of the dominant category player. And of course, the bigger the player, the more up for mockery they are. So their essence is as we call it, it's fun, which is also fun for all of the avatars inside the Jester, but there's something delightfully subversive about them. So when we look at brands, certainly there are some great examples. Virgin is really one of the all-time greats. Just look at their name. It is meant to provoke. And this goes back some years now, but certainly when Virgin Atlantic launched, they were famous for really sort of taking on the big stuffy British Airlines, which of course is the dominant player in the UK market, and so ripe for that kind of disruption. Then there's, of course, the king of the prank, Burger King, one of the most awarded brands in the past 20 years, whether it's Whopper Freakout, to the McWhopper, to Whopper Detour, to their surprisingly substantial take on net neutrality. BK has been so awarded because they've really mastered that art of the prank. Now, sometimes that's aimed at their dominant rival, sometimes at their fans, sometimes even at themselves. And then there's also a less maybe known brand that does this, but working out of the same playbook is Newcastle Brown. And they, of course, as you can see there, love to sort of take the stones out of Stella Artois in similar manner to the other guys. And so but they can also be fearless about speaking truth even to their own audience, at least with a bit of a wink and a smile. Here's sort of an example of that.
Think Newcastle can taste rich and smooth? One sip and you'll realize how wrong you were.
I used to think Newcastle was bitter. Boy, am I a dumb idiot.
No, you're not.
I thought Newcastle would taste heavy. I'm probably just a big idiot.
Come on.
We thought Newcastle was heavy. One sip and it's clear. We're just a couple of ignorant clowns.
Hey, one mistake doesn't make you an idiot, and it shouldn't stop you from trying a rich, smooth Newcastle Brown Ale. It's better than you thought. Brought to you by the dumb who made this commercial.
So there's a lot of honesty and provocation there, but there's also a lot of the friend. On another occasion, we'll talk a little bit about the avatar collisions that can actually make them work very well. So just keeping in mind that, you know, the avatar of the provocateur isn't for everyone. You need to be careful because you're walking this line. You have to accept the criticism, the slings and arrows that will inevitably occur along the way. But with brands who have the courage to really poke the bear, the spoils can be very rich indeed. So that's it. That's a wrap for the Jester. Next week, we will take a look at the Dreamer.